In the early 20th century, waves of Jewish immigration to Palestine began to transform the social and economic landscape of the region. Following centuries of diaspora, many Jews sought to return to their ancestral homeland, motivated by a combination of religious, national, and economic aspirations. The arrival of Jewish immigrants significantly increased after the First World War, particularly in the wake of the Balfour Declaration in 1917, which expressed British support for the establishment of a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine. This declaration was a pivotal moment, as it garnered international support for Jewish settlement in a territory already inhabited by a diverse population, including a large Arab majority. The British Mandate, established in 1920, formalized control over Palestine and aimed to implement the principles set out in the Balfour Declaration while balancing the rights of existing communities. The Mandate period brought about significant changes, including the establishment of administrative structures and infrastructure, which facilitated Jewish immigration and settlement. The British authorities faced a challenging task of addressing the growing tensions between Jewish and Arab populations, particularly as Jewish settlements expanded. Amidst these developments, Jewish agricultural colonies began to emerge as a key feature of the settlement landscape. The quest for self-sustainability motivated many of these Jewish immigrants, who aimed to create viable agricultural communities to support themselves and build a foundation for future statehood. The concept of collective agriculture resonated deeply within Jewish traditions and ideologies, particularly through the influence of Zionist thought, which emphasized the importance of returning to the land and utilitarian labor. As a result, two primary types of agricultural settlements took shape during this period: kibbutzim and moshavim. Kibbutzim, or communal farms, operated on principles of collective ownership and labor. Members would share agricultural output, resources, and responsibilities, fostering a sense of community and cooperation. Moshavim, on the other hand, reflected a more individualistic approach while still emphasizing collective support and community among farmers. Families maintained private plots, but shared common facilities and resources, allowing for a blend of personal initiative while still cultivating a communal spirit. By the late 1920s, these agricultural settlements had not only contributed to the economic development of the Jewish population in Palestine, but also played a significant role in establishing a distinct cultural identity. The influx of settlers led to the reclamation and cultivation of previously arid or neglected land, resulting in the transformation of the agricultural sector. These developments began to lay the groundwork for modern agricultural practices and infrastructure that would later be crucial to Israel's economy. The agricultural renaissance of the 1920s was not without its challenges. Settlers often faced harsh climatic conditions, limited resources, and resistance from Arab inhabitants who perceived the encroachment of Jewish settlers as a threat to their land and livelihood. As tensions escalated, the dynamics of land ownership, labor practices, and socio-economic development became increasingly complex, setting the stage for future conflicts in the region. Understanding the establishment and impact of these Jewish agricultural colonies is essential to grasping the historical context of contemporary Israel and the Palestinian territories. The legacies of these early settlers, their communities, and the ideologies that drove them continue to influence the region's geopolitical landscape, highlighting the intricate connections between agricultural practices, national identity, and modern statehood. The establishment of the first agricultural moshavim and kibbutzim in the 1920s marked a significant milestone in the development of Jewish agricultural settlements in Palestine. The moshavim, characterized by a cooperative community model, and the kibbutzim, which operated on principles of collective ownership and equal labor contribution, represented innovative approaches to agricultural production within the context of the burgeoning Jewish community. One notable example of this agricultural endeavor can be seen in the founding of Afula in 1921. Located in the Jezreel Valley, Afula was one of the first moshavim established during this period. Its location was strategically important as the Jezreel Valley formed a fertile agricultural region, ideal for cultivating various crops. Initially founded by a group of Russian Jewish immigrants, Afula evolved quickly into a center for agriculture, trade, and transport in the region. By the mid-1920s, Afula was not only focused on traditional farming, but also on the implementation of modern agricultural techniques, such as crop rotation and irrigation systems, which increased productivity and sustainability. The settlers introduced a variety of agricultural techniques which drew from their experiences in Europe as well as adapting to local conditions. These included the use of innovative irrigation methods, such as drip irrigation, which greatly improved water efficiency in the arid climate of Palestine. Settlers also focused on diverse crop cultivation, growing staples like wheat, barley, and various vegetables, while also experimenting with fruit orchards that included citrus and olive trees. These methods not only contributed to food security for the Jewish population, but also played an essential role in laying the groundwork for agricultural exports that would support the local economy. The efforts of the settlers during this time were significantly bolstered by the Jewish National Fund, JNF, an organization established in 1901 to acquire land for Jewish settlement in Palestine. During the 1920s, the JNF played a crucial role in land acquisition, purchasing land from absentee Arab landowners and facilitating the establishment of new moshavim and kibbutzim. The JNF implemented a series of campaigns promoting forestry, agricultural development, and infrastructure improvement, which greatly aided in transforming the landscape of rural Palestine. Through planting trees and improving irrigation, the JNF not only contributed to environmental restoration, but also instilled a sense of national pride among Jewish settlers. However, these agricultural developments had a profound impact on the local Arab population, as the expansion of Jewish settlements increasingly led to tensions over land and resources. While many Jewish settlers sought to create a sustainable agricultural society, the implications of land acquisition laid the groundwork for future conflicts. The dynamic between Jewish settlers and the Arab communities often resulted in competition for resources, marking the beginning of a complex socio-economic relationship that would continue to evolve throughout the 20th century. In summary, the establishment of moshavim and kibbutzim during the 1920s was not merely about agriculture. It was about the assertion of a national identity and the creation of a resilient community framework in Palestine. This early agricultural renaissance significantly shaped the socio-economic landscape of the region and positioned these settlements as pivotal points in the historical narrative leading to contemporary Israel. Understanding these foundations provides critical insight into the ongoing challenges and narratives that define the Israeli-Palestinian conflict today. The establishment of agricultural settlements during the 1920s had a profound impact on the socio-economic landscape of Palestine, fundamentally reshaping its economy. The Moshavim and kibbutzim introduced innovative farming techniques and cooperative models that not only increased agricultural output but also created a new economic framework. For instance, the shift from traditional farming practices to modern methods, such as irrigation and crop rotation, allowed for greater yields and more efficient use of land. These advancements positioned Jewish agricultural settlements as key players in the burgeoning economy of the region. As these communities developed, they also fostered interactions between Jewish and Arab agricultural practices. The coexistence of these two groups was characterized by both competition and collaboration. Jewish settlers often found themselves sharing techniques and knowledge with their Arab neighbors, as agriculture was a common foundation for both communities. However, the growing agricultural capabilities of the Jewish settlements began to alter the economic dynamics, leading to increased competition for resources and markets, which contributed to rising tensions. The agricultural colonies had significant effects on local communities. The influx of Jewish settlers, alongside the establishment of various agricultural enterprises, created job opportunities for many. The demand for labor led to the hiring of Arab workers, further intertwining the local economies. This was an era where agriculture was the backbone of economic activity, and the collaborative efforts in farming helped to build relationships between the two populations, even as underlying tensions persisted. Despite these interactions, the disparities in access to land and resources often led to friction, laying the groundwork for future misunderstandings and conflict. The cultural significance of the agricultural colonies in Jewish identity cannot be overlooked. For many Jewish immigrants, returning to the land where their ancestors had once lived was a critical aspect of their identity. The work on the land symbolized a return to roots, fostering a sense of community and collective purpose. The establishment of kibbutzim, where communal living was emphasized, reinforced this idea of shared identity and cultural revival. These settlements became centers of Jewish culture, education, and agricultural innovation, inspiring a generation that saw labor on the land as both a political and ideological mission. Moreover, the Jewish National Fund played a pivotal role in enhancing this sense of identity by facilitating the purchase and development of land for Jewish agricultural use. This institutional support empowered settlers and provided them with the necessary resources to establish thriving farms. The merging of economic necessity with cultural identity not only contributed to the sustainability of these settlements, but also helped to forge a modern Jewish state narrative rooted in agricultural success. In summary, the agricultural settlements established during the 1920s had a transformative impact on the socio-economic fabric of Palestine. They boosted the local economy through enhanced agricultural productivity, fostered interactions that shaped the relationships between Jewish and Arab communities, created job opportunities, and solidified a sense of Jewish identity rooted in agriculture. As we analyze these developments, it is essential to reflect on how these early efforts contributed to the ongoing complexities of the region's socio-political landscape today. The 1920s Jewish agricultural settlements laid a foundation that would have enduring effects on modern Israel. The Moshavim and kibbutzim, established during this decade, introduced progressive farming methods, emphasizing collective efforts and innovation. This agricultural renaissance not only enhanced food production, but also played a vital role in the nascent community's self-sufficiency. As these settlements expanded, they became crucial to the development of a robust agricultural sector, which remains a backbone of the Israeli economy today. The evolution of these early settlements is closely tied to current Israeli agricultural advancements. Techniques pioneered in the 1920s, such as drip irrigation, crop rotation, and sustainable farming practices, have continued to evolve. Israel is now recognized globally as a leader in agricultural technology, often referred to as agri-tech. The foundational practices of the early settlers have influenced modern solutions that address the country's unique climatic and geographic challenges, further enhancing food security in a region often prone to drought and resource scarcity. However, the establishment of Jewish agricultural colonies also had significant geopolitical ramifications, particularly in the context of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. As Jewish settlers established successful agricultural enterprises, the competition for land and water resources increased tensions with the local Arab population. The British Mandate period saw these tensions escalate, leading to confrontations that have echoed throughout the subsequent decades of conflict between Jewish and Arab communities. Understanding the origins of this competition provides crucial context for comprehending the ongoing disputes surrounding land use and sovereignty in the region. The legacy of the 1920s agricultural settlements is also manifested in the establishment of a distinctly Jewish societal structure. The communal lifestyle of kibbutzim and the collaborative framework of moshavim fostered a sense of unity and identity among Jewish immigrants. This identity was deeply tied to the land, as agricultural success symbolized both resilience and the revival of Jewish culture after centuries of dispersion. The symbolism of these settlements is foundational to contemporary Israeli society, with many viewing the agricultural successes of the 20s as essential to the legitimization of a Jewish homeland. Moreover, the historical significance of these agricultural colonies continues to resonate today. They not only marked a resurgence of Jewish life in Palestine, but also served as critical players in the broader narrative of nation-building. The sense of collective purpose and the drive for self-determination inspired by these early settlers shaped the political landscape and aspirations of Jewish communities in the following decades. As Israel continues to navigate complex challenges, including water scarcity, agricultural sustainability, and diplomatic relations, the lessons learned from the 1920 settlements remain relevant. Their pioneering spirit informs contemporary agricultural innovations and policies aimed at fostering coexistence and sustainability in an area marked by historical conflict. Reflecting on these early efforts allows us to understand not only the roots of modern Israeli society, but also the intricate tapestry of relationships and narratives that continue to define the region today. Understanding the historical context of the Jewish agricultural colonies sheds light on the ongoing complexities of Israeli-Palestinian relations, highlighting the interplay between agriculture, identity, and geopolitical dynamics that remains crucial in discussions surrounding the future of the region.